The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
As of January 1st, 2024, the population of Georgia equaled 3,694,000 persons, registering at 1.1% decrease from the previous year. It should be mentioned that 2023 resulted in the negative natural increase and negative net migration, according to the report published by the National Statistics Office of Georgia. Registration for the Youth Social Entrepreneurship Support Project has kicked off, said Tbilisi Mayor Kakakaladze at the municipal government meeting. The project has been implemented at the initiative of the Culture, Education, Sports and Youth Affairs Municipal Service since 2022, followed by funding many projects and initiatives. Actually, you can all see that the opposition does not have many resources, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze told journalists as he noted the Georgian society supports the transparency of NGOs. As for the statements of the European partners, according to Irakli Kobakhidze, non-governmental organizations are afraid of the transparency of funding. A new international airport will be built in Tbilisi, namely in Vaziani. According to initial estimates, the construction of the new international airport will cost 1.2 billion USD, and after all phases of its development, it will be able to receive 19 million passengers in the long term. The government of Georgia expects that the project will be financed by a private investor. It is not yet known under what conditions the tender for the construction of the new airport will be announced. The distance between Tbilisi Airport and Vaziani Military Airfield is 8 kilometers, a straight line. However, the length of the road will expand twice. The distance from the Tbilisi Airport turn to the Vaziani turn is 8 kilometers, and from the Vaziani turn to the military airfield, it's 8.5 kilometers. Therefore, reaching the airport as a whole will be extended by 16.5 kilometers. According to Google, this distance can be traveled by car in 24 minutes. This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Kwanchilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to sum up business and economics week for you. With 425 votes in favor and 30 against, the European Parliament passed a joint resolution on efforts to reintroduce the foreign agents law in Georgia and restrictions on civil society. The draft resolution presented by 5 parliamentary groups became public the day before the vote. Additionally, during the vote, several amendments initiated by MEPs Anna Fodiga and Urmas Sapait have been added to the draft, which strongly condemns the reintroduction of the controversial draft law on transparency of foreign influence, which would impose debilitating restrictions on civil society and independent media and thereby undermine the possibility of their operating freely, and has therefore been met with massive protests by the Georgian public, civil society organizations, independent media, prominent public figures, and the country's European and international partners alike. Underlines that the draft law is incompatible with EU values and democratic principles, runs against Georgia's ambitions for EU membership, damages Georgia's international reputation, and endangers the country's Euro-Atlantic integration. Stresses that EU accession negotiations should not be opened as long as this law is part of Georgia's legal order. Urges, therefore, the Georgian parliament to halt the parliamentary proceedings leading to adoption of the law, and urges the Georgian government to honor the commitments it made in March 2023 when it announced that it would unconditionally withdraw its draft law to impose restrictions on civil society and independent media, and would not propose such a law again. Calls on the government of Georgia also to abstain from submitting any further legislative proposals that contradict the principles of democracy, the rule of law, human rights, and fundamental freedoms, and which would therefore run counter to the Copenhagen criteria for EU membership, highlights that the draft law betrays the aspirations of the large majority of the Georgian people to live in a democratic society, continue democratic and rule of law reforms, pursue close cooperation with Euro-Atlantic partners, and commit to a path towards EU membership. Emphasizes that the rights to freedom of expression and assembly and to peaceful protest are fundamental freedoms and must be respected under all circumstances, particularly in a country aspiring to join the EU. Urges the Georgian government to respect Georgian citizens' constitutional rights and therefore expresses its concern about reports of riot police using disproportionate force to disperse protesters demonstrating against the controversial draft law. Calls on the Georgian authorities to investigate and hold accountable those responsible for the unlawful and disproportionate use of force. Underlines that the public watchdog role exercised by civil society and independent media is essential to a democratic society and crucial in advancing EU accession-related reforms, and therefore calls on the Georgian authorities to do their utmost to guarantee an enabling environment in which civil society and independent media can thrive. Denounces the fact that the Georgian government is taking inspiration from highly controversial similar Russian legislation, such as Russia's foreign agents law, which intentionally labels and discriminates against civil society organizations and activists, and has also been used to stifle opposition to Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine and silence any remaining critical voices in the country. Recalls that the European Council of 14 and 15 December 2023 granted Georgia candidate status on the understanding that the relevant steps set out in the Commission recommendation of 8 November of 2023 would be taken. Stresses that this recommendation called on Georgia to ensure that civil society was able to operate freely and to fight disinformation against the EU and its values, and that the draft law violates both objectives. Reminds the Georgian government of the commitments it made in the values and principles it subscribed to when it applied for EU membership, and calls on the Vice President of the Commission, High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, the Commissioner for Neighborhood and Enlargement, and the President of the Commission to do the same. Invites the Commission to submit an interim assessment of Georgia's progress related to the implementation of the 9 steps indicated in the Commission recommendation of 8 November of 2023. Calls on the Commission and the Member States to assess the impact of this draft law on the EU's role as a donor in Georgia and to communicate clearly to the Georgian government and parliament about this possible impact and its consequences for EU funding in general. Urges the Georgian government to return to its European path, uphold its commitment to respect, strengthen and promote democracy, the rule of law, human rights and fundamental freedoms, and genuinely engage in the full implementation of the steps required to fulfill the conditions for candidate status and EU membership in a spirit of engagement and cooperation with Georgia's civil society and political opposition. Reiterates its unwavering support for the Georgian people's legitimate European aspirations and their wish to live in a prosperous country free from corruption that fully respects fundamental freedoms, protects human rights and guarantees an open society and independent media. Underlines that the decision to grant Georgia EU candidate status was motivated by the wish to acknowledge the achievements and democratic efforts of Georgia's civil society, as well as the overwhelming support for EU accession among its citizens. Calls for an impartial and independent long-term international election observation mission by the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights to monitor the country's upcoming parliamentary elections in October 2024. Instructs its president to forward this resolution to the Vice President of the Commission, High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, the Council, the Commission, the governments and parliaments of the Member States, the Council of Europe, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and the President, Government and Parliament of Georgia. Georgian Parliament Speaker Shalva Papuashvili on Thursday said the resolution adopted by the European Parliament on Thursday against the Georgian bill on transparency of foreign influence was the last pinch by outgoing MEPs against the Georgian people. The resolution called on the Georgian government to withdraw the legislative piece and has sparked public protests in the country. In his response, Papuashvili said the resolution was a political document with no executive function and force. A year ago, there was a resolution in exactly the same entry regarding Bidzina Ivanishvili, the founder of the ruling Georgian Dream Party and former PM. Unfortunately, these are the people who also singled out Georgia's Russian-occupied region of Abkhazia as a separate state in the draft resolution. What kind of sanctions are we talking about when they are so superficial towards our country? Papuashvili said. The decision on opening European Union accession talks with Georgia on imposing sanctions is taken by the European Council. This is a campaign launched by several MEPs, which they have been conducting against the Georgian people for a long time, he added. The lawmaker also said he hoped EU citizens would make a better decision and hand over the mandate to the right people in the upcoming elections scheduled for June. Meanwhile, after a month from a historic win and if qualifying from the subgroup at the UEFA 2024 Euro Championships, Bidzina Ivanishvili's Kartu Foundation will award the Georgian national football team with 30 million lari, and the team will receive an additional 30 million for every next one game, Kartu Foundation said in its statement. By qualifying for the Euro 2024 Championships, the Georgian national football team brought the greatest joy to each of us. Huge efforts of each football player, training headquarters representative, and people involved in the football sphere stand behind this success and dream of generations that came true, reads the statement. Kartu Foundation wished success to the Georgian football team. We believe that this is the beginning of the success and an amazing path. We have many other successes ahead, it said. Football players have been critical of Georgian Dream's bill on so-called foreign agents. Time for news in the economy this week, brought to you by The Checkpoints.
Georgian Economy Minister Levan Davitashvili on Monday said the country's economic growth forecast was positive in the medium term and the domestic economy was set to become one of the fastest growing in Europe and the wider region. Speaking at the Economic Forum, Challenges of the Georgian Economy, Geopolitical Role, Investments and Economic Growth, Davitashvili highlighted forecasts and trends, sectoral priorities and challenges, large infrastructure projects, structural reforms and cooperation between the state and the business. Forecasts of International Monetary Fund shows Georgia will be one of the fastest growing economies. In fact, the fastest growing economy among the countries of Europe and the wider region, with economic growth above 5% until 2029, he said. He also said the growth rate was expected to be about 5.7% this year and stressed the country could achieve even higher numbers. Construction of a sports stadium at PM's initiative will be a mega project for our country and the capital city, said Tbilisi Mayor Kakakaladze at the municipal government meeting. According to Kakakaladze, Georgian football and rugby players deserve a new stadium. I will personally be involved in this mega project deserved by Georgian football and rugby players and their supporters who especially love these two sports, he said. Tbilisi Mayor believes that the stadium of medium standards will benefit the country, allow Tbilisi to host high-level competitions. This will be the stadium of high standards that will allow hosting high-level matches in Tbilisi by attracting more visitors, getting familiar with our country, Georgian sports and the culture of different nations. You know that the current stadiums don't meet the standards to hold the final of Championship League. Therefore, the decision is significant, he said. In the first quarter of 2024, the residential property price index in Georgia increased by 1.1% compared to the previous quarter, while the annual increase amounted to 13%, according to the National Statistics Office of Georgia. Compared to 2020 average, the index change amounted to 41.3%. The residential property price index covers the market of new residential property in Tbilisi, both flats and detached house segment. In the first quarter of 2024, a price increase compared to the previous quarter was registered both in flats and detached houses segment. Compared to the first quarter of 2023, the price increase in both segments for flats by 12.9% and for detached houses by 13.3%. Residential real estate is the most expensive in the following districts: Tatsminda, Vake, Saburtalo and Krzanisi. On Wednesday, April 24, a loan agreement of €23.2 million was signed between Georgia and Asia Development Bank regarding the strengthening of healthcare sector in Georgia. The document was signed by Lasha Khutsishvili, Minister of Finance of Georgia, and Leslie Birman-Lamb, Country Director for Georgia Resident Mission, Asia Development Bank. In total, financial resources in the amount of €47 million will be allocated by the bank according to the loan agreement. The first tranche of €24 million will be paid in 2024 and the second tranche is planned to be received in 2025. The program provides increasing benefits offered to the population for primary health care, specialized ambulatory care and diagnostic services, as well as reducing financial access barriers, improving service delivery at all service levels, improving digital information systems needed to more effectively manage health programs, and public spending on the health sector, improving governance and accountability for service quality. The availability of a medication used for treatment of achondroplasia among children patients will be widened following an initiative by Georgian government, the Ministry of Health said on Wednesday. Sarjuladze added the initiative was launched in accordance with the government to ensure the safety of patients and their interests. The ministry said the medication would be available throughout Georgia, with individuals intending to take it abroad would need to do so under the supervision of qualified medical personnel. The meeting of council also involved parents of children with the syndrome and Deputy Health Ministers Damir Gabunia and Irine Tskhadadze. Achondroplasia drug has been available in Georgia since November 2023 following requests by parents of children diagnosed with the illness for state efforts to introduce the drug to the country. Tbilisi Mayor Kakakaladze announced rehabilitation of a park in Samgori district. The park, covering an area of up to 4 hectares, is set to undergo improvements such as pedestrian paths, exercise and children's playgrounds, drinking water fountains and an area for dog walking. The project aims to enhance the park's infrastructure and create a renewed recreation space. The estimated cost of the rehabilitation work is $8 million. Mayor Kakakaladze emphasized the city's need for more green space and recreation area. The construction of the project is planned for summer of 2025. Insurance sector and pension insurance reforms, investments to be made in energy projects and privatizations planned we have discussed in the meeting of Economic Council at the government administration. Attention at the meeting was paid to the investments in energy projects. Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze emphasized the importance of maximally tapping into the country's relevant potential. The Council endorsed energy projects with total capacity of up to 500 MW. The members of the Council also discussed particular details of passenger and freight transport reform and the process of approving relevant normative acts prescribed by legislation that will be presented to the government in the nearest future. The Selection Commission for the board members of National Bank of Georgia held interviews with the applicants on Tuesday. On April 23, out of 28 candidates submitted to the administration, the Commission listened to 8 candidates who were selected anonymously as a result of the discussion. According to the chairperson of the Commission, Tamar Solokhia, the Commission will proceed with its work and will further deliberate on the interviews of these candidates to compile a definitive list for the president. We welcome this transparent process initiated by President of Georgia, ensuring that the selection of members for the Board of National Bank will be fully transparent to the public. As for the criteria used to select the shortlist, consensus played a crucial role. Only candidates who received anonymous votes from all commission members were included in the shortlist, explained Tamar Sulukhia. Economist Soso Berekashvili was one of the first to answer questions of commission. He stated that he would be independent if selected as a member of MBG board. When asked how he understands the independence of the National Bank, Soso Berekashvili answered that he understands it as it is written in the law that the MBG is independent, the members of the board are independent and should not receive tasks from anyone. I'm in favor of any decision adopted by MBG board member should be public. This is how Lasha Kaftaradze, the candidate for the membership of MBG board and chief economist at Galton Taggart, answered the commission's question. Mamuka Djibouti, a candidate for the MBG board membership, explains that his goal in the National Bank is to strengthen the management team of the MBG and thereby bring more benefits to the country. Mamuka Djibouti has been the head of audit service at the National Bank of Georgia since 2007. The National Bank must be fully independent from the executive power. Giorgi Tabuashvili, a candidate for the membership of the MBG board, said in an interview. According to Giorgi Tabuashvili, despite the fact that he spent more than half of his work experience in public service, he was never a member of any political party or an active supporter. Vakhtang Charay, a candidate for membership of board of National Bank of Georgia, says that he sees his role in the board in the direction of relations with the International Monetary Fund. As Vakhtang Charaya stated in the interview, he knows the needs of IMF to update the program and believes that he can play a positive role in the relationship with the IMF. In the meeting held in the President's administration, the candidate for membership of the Board of National Bank, Archil Yakobashvili, named four priorities. According to him, he applied to the president for MBG board membership because he wants to strengthen the board of MBG with his experience. Among his priorities, Yakobashvili mentions the promotion of European integration, development of digital lari, promotion of larization, and strengthening of governance of MBG board. If I will be the board member, I will be independent in any decision as always, Levan Surguladze, a candidate for MBG board membership, said at the meeting held in the president's administration. According to him, the MBG should be independent in its decisions and therefore the independence of MBG board members is important. The Commission will submit the results of interview to the President of Georgia on May 1. On April 10, the President of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, established the Selection Commission for the members of National Bank of Georgia board and held its first working meeting. The Commission agreed on the procedures for the selection of candidates, the evaluation criteria, and the work schedule. The members of the Selection Commission are Tamar Sulukhia, Director of International Economics School, ISET and ISET Research Institute at Tbilisi State University; Archil Mestverishvili, former active president of MBG and board member, IMF's expert; Nicholas Avelashvili, the Dean of School of Business, Technology and Education at Ilyas State University; Georgi Khishtovani, Research Director at PMC Research Center; Georgi Isakadze, General Producer, TV Company Business Media Georgia; Ketevan Tatoshvili, Advisor to the President of Georgia on relations with international organizations and social and economic issues. Currently, there are 4 vacancies in the Board of National Bank of Georgia. The administration of President has received applications from 28 candidates for membership.
A 9-kilometer tunnel connecting Kwasheti and Gobi was opened within the framework of the Kwasheti-Gobi Road project. The drilling works were carried out by a special tunnel boring machine, TBM, which significantly reduces the impact on the environment and ensures its sustainability. A parallel evacuation tunnel is cut at 7,730 meters. The new 9-kilometer long, 15-meter diameter tunnel is the longest in Georgia and is a unique installation of electric and engineering systems and arrangement of the road cover will begin afterwards. Within the framework of the project, a 23-kilometer-long two-side asphalt concrete road will be constructed. The project comprises the construction of 5 bridges, 5 tunnels, and 1 bridge rehabilitation. It also includes the construction of a tourist center and a new 5-kilometer-long road leading to Gudauri Resort. Modern road safety standards will reduce travel time. Currently, it takes 1 hour to travel to Kobe, and sometimes driving is banned due to avalanche threats. Passing through the section will take 15 minutes. The new road offers a safe and reliable travel route and improves regional links with the mountain villages. The project will have a social impact on 10 villages which are cut off from the regional centers for several months and have no access to medical, educational, and household needs. The new road will solve transit movement restrictions in the winter period. The Kwasheti-Kobe Road construction project is implemented with the financial support of the Asian Development Bank (ADB) and in the tunnel construction part with the co-financing of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development (EBRD). The project's total value is 1.2 billion lari. The 23-kilometer-long Kwasheti-Kobe Road construction will be completing in stages in 2024 to 2025. Let us now review what was new in business this week. On to Natia Taktakishvili.
Tsinandali Estate, a Radisson Collection hotel, was awarded Best Luxury Wine Estate Hotel in Kakheti at Luxury Lifestyle Awards 2024. Luxury Lifestyle Award is a global award program that selects and promotes the best luxury goods and services worldwide. With a rich history of 16 years, the awarding company evaluated over 5,000 goods and services across 400 categories from more than 100 countries, analyzing the results to create a top list of the very best in the world. As a part of survey, the organization named Tsinandali Estate as the best hotel in the hospitality sector under the nomination Best Luxury Wine Estate Hotel in Kakheti, Georgia. Silk Road Group opened a 5-star international brand hotel Radisson Collection in Tsinandali Estate in 2018. Taco Partswani, an operator of tourist company OK Travel, talks to BMWG about the trends of the current year and states that the price of tourist packages has increased by about 20% this year. According to her, the major share of the bookings accounts for Turkey, Cyprus, and Greece. In addition, Asia is also active, but bookings in this direction are relatively small compared to those countries. Depending on the season, the major share of summer bookings account for Turkey, namely Antalya, Kuşadası, and Bodrum. As for the prices, travel costs have increased by about 20% this year. For example, the cost of vacation in Turkey in average 5-star hotel starts from 2,000 lari. However, because the sector is unpredictable, the price might be reduced under the various promotion campaigns, says Partswania. The operator of the tourist company also talks about the challenges and notes that Wizz Air, which has to take airplanes for inspection, has created some problems for the company. In particular, the airline company changed the dates or even removed some destinations. Cafe ice cream chain Luca Polare continues to develop its business within the country and opened another 6th branch of Luca Polare at Grand Mall in Batumi. According to the company, the investment amounts to 120,000 lari. The branch offers guests a full range of ice cream, hot and cold drinks, and lunch. We are starting the season with good news. This time we opened a new branch in Batumi. Our new branch is located on the 4th floor of Grand Mall and serves the guests with a full range of products. Ani Tsikhisashvili, head of public relations and marketing, notes the company says that still have expansion plan and new branches will be added during this year, both in the cities of Georgia and Azerbaijan. Luca Polare is an ice cream chain that offers customers up to 80 types of ice cream and exclusive coffee. The brand has been on the Georgian market for 15 years and is currently represented in 5 cities across Georgia. The company has 16 branches in Tbilisi, 6 in Batumi, Kabuleti, Kutaisi, and Rustavi, and 2 branches in Azerbaijan and Baku. Tinatin Papukashvili, the founder of event management company Inventor, talks with BMDG about the trends in this sector and notes that prices for services have increased. According to her, event management is becoming more and more popular year on year, and therefore the competition in the market has increased. The festive season is starting now, and we already have certain number of pre-bookings. Compared to the last year, the prices have increased both in the direction of restaurants and services. Previously, the cost of event planning started from 20,000 lari, but now we had to increase this service by over 30%. There is a demand from foreign to plan an event in Georgia. About 30% of the demand is from Israel. In addition, negotiations are held with Asia, and it's likely that we will have more Asian customers in summer, says Papukashvili. According to her, the company plans to work on large-scale events this year, for which negotiations are currently underway with several contractors. As a result, collaboration with one of the companies should be implemented. Collaboration means that the partner company will attract foreign customers and Inventor will plan the event. Event management company Inventor has been operating on the market for 7 years. Tourist facility Villa Vagini, located in the village of Vagini, just 3 kilometers from Tbilisi, has become an outstanding place for many people. The founder of Villa Vagini, Tatia Gabissiani, declares that last year was quite busy. The load was high even during the winter. She noted that they had guests from almost all regions of Georgia, including Agera. In addition, Gabissiani noted that they had many foreign guests from France and Italy. Villa Vagini is 70% occupied at this stage. According to her, there are 2 main buildings in this space of Villa Vagini. One cottage is designed for 2 persons and the other is designed for 6 people. In addition, this space features a sauna and jacuzzi. A separate building is for kitchen, which provides food to the guests. We own a land area of 2,000 square meters, and now we are working to fully utilize it with new project. By the end of May, we will finish the construction of outdoor pool as well as outdoor sitting area, the space for parties, which will be designed for 40 people, and the open cinema, said Tatia Gabissiani. The cost of accommodation in a 2-person cottage in Villa Vagini is 200 lari, and the cost of accommodation for 6 people amounts to 700 lari. Villa Vagini is a tourist space which was opened a year ago. Tamas Sherazadishvili, the founder of wine cellar Talis Wine, located in Wareli, talks to BMDG about the challenges in the winemaking sector and notes that the situation is very difficult. The winemaker explains that the behavior of tourists in the country has changed and they no longer buy wine. According to him, the wine company Talis Wine has been operating in the Georgian market since 2019. It provides a total of 5 types of wine, namely Kisi, Khikhi, Kahuri Green, Katsiteli and Green Kupach, as well as Saperavi. The company uses its own raw materials as well as buys the additional grape from organic farms. The tourist behavior in the market has changed. Until now, a large number of tourist customers consumed wine, but now they no longer buy it. In addition, the competition is very big. Too many shops are closing because they don't have customers. Our products are sold in various restaurants and wine bars across Georgia, such as 8,000 Vintages Wine Gallery and etc. The value of the wine varies from 15 lari to 25 lari, says Sherazadishvili. According to him, 2 people are mainly employed in the winemaking and staff are added during the season. The company processes up to 10 tons of grapes and produces 13,000 bottles of wine during the year. Maya Murachashvili, a hotelier and manager of Hotel Russia Gudauri, declares that the flow of European tourists in Gudauri was more active in 2024 compared to the previous year, but they visited the resort with individual tours instead of group visits. According to her, 21% of total load came from tourists from Western Europe, while the figure was exceeded by tourists from Gulf countries, but they didn't stay for a long time. As she explained, they spent mostly 2-3 nights, while Western Western European tourists arrive for a long time for skiing. Finally, I can say that 2024 winter season was more intense and busier in terms of tourist number compared to the last year. We have better expectations from spring as we already have active bookings. A serious PR campaign was carried out. We participated in exhibitions, so we expect this year should exceed the pre-pandemic 2018, Maya Murachashvili said. According to the data of National Tourist Administration in Q1 2024, 77,000 international visits from European Union and Great Britain were made to Georgia, which was 40% more than the same period last year. H&M, one of the largest clothing retailers in Georgia, has published its financial report for 2024. According to the document, the company increased its income by 35% to 48 million lari during the mentioned period. H&M is a Swedish multinational company with 4,800 stores in 75 countries worldwide. H&M's global revenues is expected to reach $22 billion in 2022. H&M operates 3 stores in Georgia located in the following shopping centers: City Mall, East Point, and Galleria Tbilisi.
The repair and expansion work on the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway line, a critical segment of the middle corridor, is nearing completion. Notably, 95% of the repair, reconstruction and construction work on the 183-kilometer section of the railway line that traverses Georgia's complex geographic terrain has been successfully completed. The primary goal of modernizing this railway line is to enhance the competitiveness of the middle corridor and attract a significant portion of cargo to the BTK route. The BTK railway line plays a vital role in transporting goods from China and Central Asian countries to Europe in the shortest possible time. Facilitating the faster movement of goods from Asia to Europe via Azerbaijan through streamlined operations further emphasizes the BTK's significance within the regional transportation network. To meet the increasing demand for cargo transport, comprehensive repair and expansion work commenced in 2023 with final completion efforts currently underway. A joint review of the project was conducted on the 2nd of March by the heads of the Azerbaijan, Georgian, Turkish railway administrations, Rovshan Rustamov, David Peradze, and Veysi Kurt, as well as discussions were made on site to ensure the project's timely completion according to the schedule. Both Turkish and Georgian heads of railway administrations have expressed their satisfaction with the rapid progress of the concluding works. Mr. Veysi Kurt, the Director General of the State Railways of the Republic of Turkey, emphasized that we witness the culmination of works executed at a very high level, and soon we will commence cargo operations. Rovshan Rustamov, Azerbaijan Railways chairman, stated that the main tasks in the Marabda-Artsakhi section, known for its challenging terrain, forests and mountains, have been completed. These tasks including strengthening the railway infrastructure, increasing the transportation capacity and ensuring safety. Initiated on the directives of President Ilham Aliyev, these efforts are set to boost the cargo transport capacity of the BTK to 5 million tons annually. Such an enhancement will elevate the BTK status, making it a key component of the middle corridor. The growing need to augment the flow of goods from Central and Border Asia towards the West and the reverse reflects both a current demand and a new global trend. Azerbaijan Railway stands prepared to embrace these challenges, ensuring its competitive stance in international cargo transportation through the upgraded BTK railway line, Rustamov added. The BTK project consists of 5 parts, 3 of which have been completed and officially documented by the Georgian government. The first part of the BTK project, covering the 29.2-kilometer Marabda-Tetritskalo railway line, included 3 railway stations, 2 half stations, 4 passenger platforms, and 38 kilometers of contact network lines. All works, including the installation and activation of signaling, centralization and blocking devices, cabling of switches, and other expansion works, have been completed with official documentation obtained. For the second part, the 49.7-kilometer Tetskaro-Tsalka railway line, all works at 3 railway stations, 3 passenger platforms, and 2 half stations, as well as the 5.9-kilometer snow protection fences, have been completed. This includes the installation and activation of signaling, centralization, and blocking devices with official documentation for completion obtained. The third part, the 74.1 kilometer Akhalkalaki railway line, has seen the completion of works at 4 railway stations, 3 half stations, and 4 passenger platforms. Currently, repair works in 4 snow protection galleries, tunnels are ongoing, with all planned works expected to be finalized in March, April of the current year. The fourth part, involving the reconstruction of the 27-kilometer Akhalkalaki-Artsakhi main railway line, including the repair of a railway station and passenger platforms, among other tasks, has been completed. This section also has official documentation for completion. Additionally, the construction of the 110-hectare Akhalkalaki complex represents the fifth part of the project. This phase included the repair of an overpass, 2 aqueducts, 4 bridges and 2 road crossings, and 2 underground pedestrian crossings, the construction of snow protection walls, the installation of 17.9 kilometers of new contract network, the refurbishment of a half station, the construction of 48 kilometers of internal station roads, 3.9 kilometers of automotive roads, and so forth. Modern technologies and equipment from European manufacturers were used in the construction of the complex. Currently, the supply of the equipment and final completion works are underway. BTK railway line, with some works conducted at altitudes up to 2,400 meters above sea level, and harsh winter weather conditions, temperatures dropping to minus 30% Celsius, repair and restoration works have not been hindered. It is worth noting that during the autumn-winter season, when snow weather conditions often lead to the closure of roads, railway transport becomes the only means of communication between the region and central areas, playing a crucial role. Azerbaijan Railways chairman Rovshan Rustamov stated that April 2024 is set as a deadline to finish the project. All resources have been mobilized to complete the remaining works by April. Following the project's full completion, a joint venture should be established between Azerbaijan and Georgia to efficiently manage operations on the BTK and attract new cargo. Respective work has been begun, and the establishment of a joint venture is expected soon, Rustamov said. I want to thank our correspondents from Azerbaijan, BMG's office there, reporting for the checkpoints. And that's all for today. We will meet next Sunday, 11 a.m. sharp. But before that, you know what to do. You have to stay and check us out on bm.g for more news and outlook on business and economics in Georgia, in the region, and beyond.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.